Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
The Browns need to thank their fans for continuing to support them for all of these years, and I know that the support will continue to be there. Jay, we were just talking about it. We got to start with that first half. I mean, there's been undisciplined football with this Browns team. Boy, that was just disgusting, ugly. Every single play, flags flying every which way, and the biggest issue is you put a good play together and everyone starts turning around to see if there's laundry on the field. That's the hardest thing to do as a football player. You're like, can I celebrate? Yellow. No, it's there. Dang it. Who did what? I just made a good play.
Oh, my God. The one Clowney, when he had the illegal hands to the face called with I forget who it was on. Clowney.
Isaiah Thomas, I think it was.
He thought he got flagged. He was like, I didn't rough him. I was just clean as a hit. And then he's like, oh, my God, why did you do that? I had him. Oh, that has got to drive him nuts.
And every image from the game, too, was, at least from the Cleveland side, was Browns hitting Burrow, but it was all of the plays where there was a flag that nullified the sack. I think we got 2 sacks today, or Myles Garrett may have gotten a couple sacks today, but it was hard to tell because every time they had actually gotten to Burrow and he wasn't finding Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase wasn't running away from the Warden, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, anything like that. And they were without their other top wide receivers. We were down to their 4th and 5th string wide receivers. Even those guys are making plays. They're pulling tricks out of their bag. Yeah, it was fun to see Myles Garrett tackle Jamar Chase. Did Myles Garrett get a sack for that?
I don't know if he did or not.
I don't think he did. It may have been a tackle
because
for
I'm
loss.
wondering where the second sack came from. I know he had one, and I'm going back through the game and like some of the plays in my head. I'm trying to figure out.
Did he have one right in the beginning of the first drive?
No, because they meant after that one where Burrow ran and Myles tackled him it was a tackle for a loss. The announcer still said that the Browns didn't have any sacks today.
So then I wonder if it was if they credited him for one for when Chase attempted to pull up for a pass and then realized there's no one there, and that was about as easy as it comes to getting a sack.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
But the Browns have no system right now.
Oh, no.
And if the Browns really cared about winning, and this isn't to drum up some controversy or anything like that, why if you're really about winning and not preparing for next year by having Deshaun Watson work out the rust as much as he can through 6 games, don't you think we would have seen Jacoby Brissett?
Probably. This is one of those weird situations. It's like they have to get this dude to get playing, and his, like they say, his ceiling is higher than Brissett's, but his floor is lower than his right now. It can be. 3 points in the first half or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we just got to suffer through it, and they're going to make us suffer through it. Hopefully, the payoff is next year.
Yeah. He looked better, but also receivers weren't separating from their defensive backs. Nobody, uncomplimentary football. That has been the staple of the Browns, no matter who's behind center.
Man, when Njoku caught that touchdown pass and dove, and you see him pumping up the sidelines, and then we get a stop, wouldn't you have thought, I'm like, man, why don't they just go to Njoku right now? Just feed him the rock. I don't even care if someone's on him. Throw it up high. That dude's balling right now. I'm like, I would have sent Njoku on a fly route and be like, I don't care if he's double covered. Throw it up there and just do what David Njoku can do. I don't think I heard from him again after that.
I think he made a couple plays on some of those other drives when they got stopped on 4th down because they had to go for it.
First downs and stuff, yeah, but nothing no big plays, what I'm saying.
Boy, if they could have gotten that touchdown, and I know what if, all this type of stuff, it doesn't really matter. We'll live in a hypothetical world for just a brief moment, though. If they would have gotten that touchdown when they had 4 plays to do so and then ended with that jump ball to Peoples-Jones, who, I don't know, either jumped late or tried to catch it with his body instead of high pointing the football, putting his arms up to try to go get it, and maybe came down with it. Yeah, the play call, not a great play call on fourth down because you're not a high percentage play. But those are the difference between good teams and bad teams in the NFL is the good teams to great teams, their players go make plays, even if the play call isn't the best in the situation or the throw isn't the best from the quarterback. Guys go make plays. Look at, and this isn't to dwell on Baker or anything like that. This isn't drumming up all of those old conversations. He's out of here. He's gone. But this is just the best example I have because I actually saw it happen. Ben Skoranek, on an underthrown ball by Baker, a bad ball, he goes up over the defender, reaches just over the defender, and hauls in the pass. Makes a play for the quarterback. Throw wasn't great. Maybe not the best call in the situation. And they're kind of a bad team, but the Rams, they're coming off as defending Super Bowl champions. So there's a culture there. Even when in a difficult season, guys are still playing, they're going to make a play for their quarterback. Bad teams that stay bad, those plays don't get made. And I'm not saying anything against DPJ or anything like that. That's just how you see it happen.
Yeah, it sucks. Man.
Nothing.
I mean, no. I thought it was over the
when the Browns got to 3-7 as a record, all of this playoff talk that started to drum back up, getting close to 500, that ship had sailed a long time ago. But, again, you had a chance to really make it interesting and put pressure on the Bengals because your defense played decently well. You know Jamar Chase is going to get his. My only issue with Jamar Chase getting as many yards as he did today was it looked like the exact same play every time. An 11-yard up and out, and he is wide open because the cushion is so far off. He's going a yard past the sticks, and you're still not closing in on him. I loved Denzel Ward's close when they tried that little bubble screen or pass out to him when they were, I think they were at the 10-yard line or something like that. They were in the red zone, the Bengals were, and Denzel read it so well. Just like that play you see on his highlight reel from Ohio State. He lit Jamar Chase up.
That was a hit.
But you didn't see that the rest of the time. Like that closing speed, using that closing speed. There was none of that. And he's just getting these 10-yard, 11 yards. And guess what? That starts a drive. And you're backing off. Guess what? These guys are going to find the space. Good players, good teams are going to find the space, and that's what they did. And Jamar wasn't even intended for the touchdown that he caught, or like he was intended, but he didn't know he was intended for it.
Oh yeah, even the commentators were talking. Like, I don't think he knew that ball was coming. He's like, as soon as he turned around, he's like, "Oh, look, a ball right here! Oh, good." It was a hell of a throw by Joe Burrow.
I mean, and that's why
today was decided on like the two big keys to me. Were one, when they didn't go for the field goal, because that's a turnover on down, so it's points you don't take. It's a momentum shift. And they went right down and scored a touchdown on that. And then the other one is when Tony Field just ran right into the kicker. Like, that was terrible. That wasn't even like a close ticky-tacky, like, oh, was it really rough? No, he about leveled that dude. What happened? Gave that dude another chance, and now he's really rolling. After that touchdown, I'm pretty sure that's when Riz sent the text out, ball game. I was like, dude's 75-0 when he calls the ball game text, apparently. I'm like, oh, well, I wanted to turn the game off. I'm like, oh, great, I got to do this post-game show. I have to watch it and torture myself.
Joe Burrow finally getting a win in 5 tries.
Do you think he was sick of hearing about that by any chance?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe every Browns fan that said something, and Browns media,
fan, every Browns
Bengals
media, every
national media.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we're losing.
If
sports gambling was legal, I would have put a pretty good bet against the Browns today.
I would have too.
I just knew it. I knew it. Don't give me the crap. It's always positive, Jay. Dude, sports. But yeah, I just knew. I'm surprised he didn't go off more than what he did. I thought he was going to go for like 450 yards and 4 touchdowns.
And I think that something what has to do with that is, trying to work Joe Mixon back in, and They started to find a groove later on in the game with their running attack.
They did what they had to do to win.
They did what they had to do, and didn't have Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins either. Like having those three, those two alongside Jamar Chase, that opens up everything else. Yes, their other wide receivers did what they had to do.
Could you imagine if we didn't have David Bell and Donovan Peoples-Jones today?
Boy, there would be a 0 up on that board. Because they made key plays.
But the Bengals scored 20-something points still.
Yeah. That's how dynamic they are. That's how good they're going right now. They've won 5 straight. And again, I don't want to say if you beat the Browns, that determines like how good of a quarterback you are or how good of a player you are. But losing to them in 4 of his starts and the last 5 games as a team in the Bengals, they've been hearing about it. Burrow's been hearing about it. If you really are that dude, no matter what team that's against, if you have to keep hearing about that, if you are that dude, you're going to take care of it sooner rather than later, and he did. That's not to say that the Browns can't beat Joe Burrow in the future. They can. The Bengals are definitely beatable, but that was the only conversation instead of how can Deshaun get better this week.
So when all you guys play schedule games next year, don't go, oh, it's the Bengals. We own them. We'll get 2 wins
Can't
there.
do that anymore.
No, you can't do that
I
no
know
more. It's gone.
Oh, but they're 5-1 against him. So what? You now have given him confidence that he can beat any team, and especially teams in his own division, to try to go own the AFC North and be what the Steelers or the Ravens have been for the last many years. Joe Burrow is trying to be what Ben Roethlisberger was and what Lamar Jackson is trying to be. Joe Burrow is trying to be that dude. And now he just raised his confidence level that much more. And that's why I made the prediction that the Bengals were going to win today. Yes, I have a job that, on game days, part of my job is to run board for our local pregame show. And at the end of the show, there are predictions. The first few times I did the show, it was just the 2 hosts that did it. And I thought, that's totally fine. I'm just working my way into the business. I don't need to talk every segment. I don't need to be involved. I need to earn that. That's part of what all of this has been about. Yes, it is a career aspiration for me, and I want to continue to earn each level that I get to and hopefully not take it for granted. I am trying my best not to do that every step of the way. But you also know that I don't like to make predictions when it involves a team that I root for. And yes, I still do root for the Cleveland Browns. As difficult and as much as I have wrestled with that all season long for obvious reasons, I still root for Cleveland. What's supposed to be on the front of the chest? It's not there anymore because they did a horrible job with it with the last uniforms. But what is theoretically on the front of the chest?
Cleveland.
It's Cleveland. So I root for Cleveland. I don't like to make predictions. I have this superstition about that. But I also know what my job is. And when I'm asked to do something at my job, I will do it.
Kevin can tell us no. He can't tell them no. And I absolutely loved it. And I laughed pretty good when I heard it on the radio. And I had to let you know.
Fortunately, last week, I said that the Browns were going to win against the Texans. That was an easy pick because the Texans are the worst team. They had the Cowboys on the ropes today, still found a way to lose. Are they trying to lose? Yeah, I'm not going to make any accusations.
All I know is they love when we lose.
I ain't getting into that.
They love when we lose.
Yes, they do. But this week, with a team that was coming in with 4 straight wins, coming off of a game against Kansas City, it's a little different when you're coming off of a big game in the NFL because you have an entire week to try to get over that emotional high and refocus to the next week, and the good teams are able to do that, versus, hey, the Cavs just beat the number 1 team in the Western Conference, and they got to come back 2 nights later or a night later or the very next night. They got to come back and they got to play some mid-level team or low-level team. Oh, they got beat by a team they shouldn't lose to. Oh, emotional high, trying to get through that. They hopefully had their minds recalibrated. A little different in the NFL. So anybody that thought that they were coming off a big win against Kansas City and the Bengals thought it was going to be easy against the Bengals again.
Here's
You're
what
wrong.
just drives me nuts, man. If you're the Browns and you're like, all right, we got our quarterback back, and then unfortunately, we don't ever root for injury, but you hear Lamar Jackson got hurt. He's going to be out for a couple games. They're like, all right, we could beat the Bengals. We could start getting control. You literally had the chance to, like, really suck us all back in, and you pooped the bed.
That's what they're gonna have to get past. When the moment gets biggest,
Shrink.
If you notice,
The bigger the moment, the smaller they shrink, dude.
exactly right. When people start saying this is the biggest game of the year for the Browns, or they start out decently well, boy, this is gonna be a real test. Who doesn't show up? The Cleveland Browns. Who does that fall on? Where does the blame fall? Falls on everybody, but it falls on your coaching staff for not getting you ready and having you prepared and not listening to all this noise like this is such a big game and underperforming, but it's also on the players for not going out there and executing. And
I mean, the offensive line got manhandled today.
That's probably been
The great offensive line of the Browns.
one of the most overrated units.
Oh my
all
God!
season long.
And I get it. You're on their third string center. That's gonna put you back.
Right.
But I'm sorry, and I don't like to make fun of players,
Hey.
but Jedrick Wills. Oh boy, man, you're gonna have a rough offseason, man. I don't know if he'll be back.
I don't know either, because
Every good running play, it seems like if there's a flag, I'm like, Wills.
Wills.
either Wills or Conklin, and that's a shame
yeah,
to say too.
yeah, and-
It's 71 or 78.
Yeah.
I'm shocked when I see 75. Not shocked at all when I see 72, which is Froholt, which is the replacement center right now.
I give Froholt a lot of leeway because he's a
He's
guard.
not even- yeah, he's not even
a
a
guard
center.
playing
right,
center. So
right, and I understand that. And there are, like we talk about, well, you can't make excuses. There's, to a certain extent, there is extenuating circumstances that, not to make excuses, there's still execution that Froholt has to do, and he's capable of doing. And if he's not doing it, that is a problem. That is the realistic look at it. Not like, oh, he can't play center at all, but he's in there. No, he has capabilities along an offensive line. It's the transition from snapping the football to blocking to being in a different gap. All of those things, it takes a lot longer to take on than people actually realize. When the basics are right in front of you and you don't execute them, that's a problem. But this
Yeah.
offensive line, I think, is
I
overrated.
just got a big problem with Jedrick Wills. I've always said, I don't care. Just try your hardest. And I just keep seeing this film breakdown after film breakdown of him. Like, someone will get past him, he'll turn, and he just, like, looks like he just stops and gives up on the play. And, dude, you got a scrambling quarterback now. There is no giving up. You got to be a head on a swivel and see the next guy, you got to knock on their ass. You can't quit on plays and just become lollygagging on a play. It'll drive me insane.
Is it wrong to say soft?
Oh, do you want to talk about the defense?
Oh, boy.
Oh, is that what you were bringing up, the defense?
Well, I mean, it's,
Because if you want to talk about soft, man,
speak on it,
that
man.
secondary is as soft as it gets. Outside that Denzel Ward hit, they're as soft as it get. And Grant Delpit, oh my God, did that boy get burned today?
He got burned several times.
All year.
He's been burned all year. And we thought that was going to be a bright spot after, him coming
The
off
steal
of,
of the draft.
coming off a major injury, what he was able to do last year. And again,
I'm sorry, like that injury excuse ain't there no more.
No, it's not at all.
You had a full healthy year last year, a full healthy year this year. Dude, you're playing like garbage.
And what was supposed to be the strongest unit of this team?
The secondary, the lockdown secondary.
Just the defense in general.
It's all regressed.
It's all regressed because guess what the conversation was in the offseason? It was, if we had even average quarterback play, this team would be in the playoffs. This defense is too strong for that. When we come back next year and we got better quarterbacks, and while I continue to trash a guy that's not even here anymore, when we come back and we got other quarterbacks, we're going to be so good. We're going to be 11-6, 12 and whatever. How is that
was me,
worked
guys.
out?
That
for
was me. That was totally me.
Sorry.
I really did think the defense was going to be good.
That's
and
all right.
man, they fooled me.
It's a terrible impression of anything, But that's just the voice I hear when I read.
Yeah, I know.
If I even like,
I know you weren't mocking me, but I'm like,
Right.
man, I was saying all that stuff before the season started.
I try to be like a really nice person. Like I feel like a good person, so I feel guilty right now even mocking anybody.
Oh no,
that's what I hear when I even give credence to read a couple pieces of Brown's Twitter. Like that's all I see. Oh boy, if we had average quarterback play, well, guess what? You're getting
Here's another one.
You're getting average quarterback play.
How many times this year did you hear? If we had Deshaun Watson, we would have made that play. We would have won this game if we had Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, everybody.
The last 2 games, I'm like, I think we would have been better if we had Brissett right now.
And yes, the word fan comes from the word fanatic, so everything is going to be exaggerated. Like, oh, I'm sure he won't have any rust. Oh, well, when I think about it, he'll probably have a little rust, but probably get out of it after the first quarter against Houston and look really good. And then going into that Cincinnati game, he'll knock off all the rust, and we'll take off from there because the Bengals, we just have their number, and Joe Burrow's never going to beat us. Every opposite always happens, especially when those conversations become the loudest or the most frequent.
I am glad he did look better. Like, he looked a lot better.
Yeah, and like...
You could just see, though, like, he just needs time. Like, there was the one play early he missed. Donovan Peoples-Jones, they pointed out, wide open. The decision-making's not like boom, 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 like a quarterback would be. These guys right now are really playing preseason football against guys that are now week 14 ready.
So just don't come out during the week. And we know that you can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. We know that we don't try to listen to press conferences. I hear them a little bit more now than I did in the past. But don't come out here and tell us you're going to Cincinnati to win. That is your goal. Yes, Deshaun is our quarterback, but we are going to Cincinnati to win. We are trying to get back on track, spinning this tail and keeping the conversation, keeping the hopes alive. Like we can get back on track. We're still working on it. There's a chance for us. We're going to give everything we got. This is not against Deshaun, the football player. A guy is in preseason football right now. An offense, and I know Riz tweeted this, and a bunch of other people mentioned this. The Browns' offense is in preseason mode. Everybody else is in week 14, preparing for a playoff run. If you really wanted to win or had the goal to win, and I'm not saying they're not trying to win, but if you truly had only that mindset, 6 games to knock off the rust, I don't know. If that guy, I'm not trying to, again, say that there should be a quarterback controversy or anything like that. And like Jacoby Brissett, is this all becoming or whatever, that franchise quarterback, but he was doing what he needed to do for this team. And it seemed like other pieces were starting to turn things around. And now you're going back to the beginning of the year where you're making the same kind of mistakes because the guy is trying to get 700 days of rust off, let alone get into the flow of a season when everybody's already in the main flow. Just don't spin me a tale. Let me know what it is. Like, we're always going to go win a game, but Deshaun is our quarterback now and in the future, so we are playing him. We are working through that. Just be honest with it. Don't make it seem like you're winning to actually go win everything.